Hello people of the internet, I am JBG and I am here to begin honouring the channel's main focus, and that is gaming. I am here on Dark Souls 3 as you can see, and I am going to do a top 10 boss weapons. Let's get right into it. And at number 10 we have the Firelink Greatsword. While this sword belongs to the final boss in the game, I feel like it lacks in what it takes to be a really good boss weapon. Its attacks comprise of mainly slow slashing attacks, which I don't feel do enough damage. As you can see, its weapon art does it has some decent range, but I still don't think its weapon art and damage just lives up to what should really be one of the best weapons in the game. So with that, we shall move straight on to number 9. At number 9 we have the Farron Greatsword. This weapon has one of the cooler movesets in the game, with some very fast moving and random frantic moves. This weapon is acquired from killing the Abyss Watchers, which is the first Lord of Cinder in the game. It has a relatively high weapon count and even weapon damage count, and even comes with a parrying dagger. This weapon is great to use on PvP, especially if people haven't seen the moveset before. However, because of its lackluster damage, it's been placed this far down the list. It's at number 9, and if it wasn't for its damage, it would be my favourite weapon in the game. And at number 8 we have the Twin Prince's Greatsword. This is purely only so low down on the list that, you know, it's to do with its inaccessibility. It's only obtainable in New Game Plus or New Game Plus Plus, or any new game cycle that isn't your first one, as you need both Lorien, well, you need to get both Lorien's sword and Lothric's sword to be able to merge these two, and you can only get their soul once a playthrough. Other than that, the weapon is pretty decent. It's quite quick, and its weapon art, if I can get it to work, there we go, is quite nice. That's its weapon art R2, and it's got a nice ranged attack for its weapon art, regular attack. And this is the Twin Prince's Greatsword at number 8, purely because of its inaccessibility. And at number 6 we have the Dragon Slayer Great Axe. A great strength weapon for strength builds, however, my main issue with it is its strength requirement, which is 40, and on a regular game cycle that's pretty high, and I sure as hell couldn't use it until my second or third new game cycle. So other than that, its weapons movement is pretty slick, it's quick, high damage, its weapon art, it has a nice AoE attack as you can see, and overall it's a nice weapon. That's why I've placed it here at number 6. And at 6th place on this list is Smo's Great Hammer. Well, technically not a boss weapon in this game, Smo has appeared in DS1 as a member of the hardest main game boss of the series up until Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, as I no longer know where that title stands. However, this weapon is really good. I really quite like all of its movesets. However, it's very slow, and its insane strength requirement of 45 puts me off a little bit. It's the only reason why it's been placed so far down the list, really, at number 6. But it's higher because, well, it's a bit nostalgic, really. And in the same category as number 6, we have number 5, the Wolf Knight Greatsword, or the Artorias Abyssal Greatsword from Dark Souls 1. This is again here mainly because of its nostalgic value. However, it has one of my favourite movesets in the game, much like the Farron Greatsword. It's got some of the nicest and slickest movesets in the game, and it's very fun to play against someone on PvP who obviously doesn't know about this moveset. Just catching them out with this it's quite funny to hear their reaction on live speak. And this is the Wolf Knight Greatsword at number 5. At number 4, we have the profaned Greatsword. This is my current main weapon of the game, as I absolutely love this thing. However, due to being completely unbiased, I had to place it as number 4 because I felt like there were better boss weapons in this. And I kicked. It has a nice, quick moveset, relatively, but I feel like its damage is well balanced by its slower movesets. Its charged attack lights the sword on fire and is incredibly good when against enemies weak to fire, which is quite a significant amount of them. Its weapon art is... I honestly haven't figured out what this is yet. To be honest, I don't use weapon arts very often, so when weapon art has this, I don't really get what it does. But I feel like this weapon makes up. It hasn't got the most philanthropic, exciting, eccentric moveset in the world. It's pretty bog standard, but I feel like it gets the job done, and its high damage rating is probably the main reason why it's at number 4. That's the Profaned Greatsword. And at number 3, now we're in the top 3, I'm going to start going through the weapon stats a little bit more, including requirements and and level scaling, just for a little bit more information on the top 3. And at number 3 we have Gundars halberd. It has a nice strength requirement of 30, which, right, again, it's a bit high, but it's more realistic in a regular game plus, and a 15 skill requirement. As a C scaling in strength, which I believe is pretty decent, actually. It's one of the higher scalings in this list, with an E scaling in skill or dexterity, which isn't amazing. However, I feel like this is pretty good. It's got probably the largest range in this countdown, really, and I feel like it's just a really good weapon. It's one of my favourite boss weapons in the game. In fact, it's one of my favourite weapons in the game. It is a halberd, however, so that does mean it has got this sweet spot. But after playing with it for about an hour to two, you get used to that, and it becomes a really, really efficient weapon to use. And it's a halberd. I just have a slight soft spot for halberd. So this is Gundars halberd, and you know, it's number 3. And at number 2 we have the Dancer's Twin Blades. Yes, these are the weapons wielded by the most notorious and infamous boss in Dark Souls 3, ranked as one of the hardest bosses in the game, and that is the Dancer. Her swords are very nice, and they have a much more slick moveset than the previous Gundar halberd, which wasn't massively exciting. However, it did have range, which these do not. However, they are a very slick pair of weapons, and their movesets can lead to some very smooth looking combos. They are, again, one of my favourite weapons in the game, and I've placed them at number 2. Now at number 1, any person who's ever played a Soulsborne game should know this. It is the most infamous weapon in From Software history. It is the Moonlight Greatsword. It is possibly the most renowned weapon from all the Dark Souls series, and it is just an amazing weapon. It has ranged attacks, which do considerable amounts of damage to the weapon. However, if you connect with the ranged attack and the sword, it can be used for some insane amount of damage. It does, however, have an E scaling in strength, but a C scaling in intelligence, so it's great for magic builds. And it's absolutely amazing weapon to use. Its design is gorgeous, and it is probably one of my favourite weapons in the entire series. The Moonlight Greatsword has to be at number 1 for any true Dark Souls fan. Anyway, that was my top 10 video. If you liked it, be sure to smash that like button, share it with your friends, and comment your favourite boss weapon or even your favourite weapon in the game. I'm certain to do some more of these sorts of videos with Bloodborne, and maybe even just a top 10 weapons list in general. If you've got any suggestions of what I should make, be sure to comment those so I know what you want. And well, let's just have a little sign off with my favourite area in the game. I've been JBG. Thank you for your time.